Hi everyone, my name is Katie Sorrell and I currently work as an undergraduate admissions counselor, and this is my presentation for leadership and ethics on our ethnography paper. So for my paper, I reviewed a reoccurring weekly staff meeting that we have every Monday afternoon. The meeting is usually somewhat casual, informal, but it's a little bit more structured than general conversations that we might have, that staff members might have with each other in passing, or that staff members might have with the director in passing. So there are 6 counselors, 1 senior counselor and 1 regional counselor, and then we also have an assistant director and a director. The director leads the meeting every week, and if he's missing for some reason, then the assistant director will take his place. So overall, the meeting is anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour or 2 hours, depending on how many things we have to go over that week. And usually it takes place in a conference room that's not too far from the admissions office. So it's convenient if counselors have to pop in and out due to presentations that they might be giving or meetings that they have with students and families, because those meetings would take priority in most cases. Every week, the subject of what we discuss changes, but consistently we talk about the enrollment goals and where we're at in the recruitment process. So at this point in the year, we are really focusing on deposited students and financial aid packaging to help students move through the last few steps of the admissions process so that we can get them enrolled. So during the particular meeting that I went through, everyone arrived and we briefly had some small talk. We, joked around, caught up after the weekend, those kinds of things. We called our regional admissions counselor in, and then the director began the meeting by making some announcements and telling us kind of what we'd be going over that day. First, we talked about financial aid packaging and the fact that the university budget was going to be completed soon, so financial aid packages would be going out that week. So at this point, the director laid out some expectations and some guidelines for walking students through their financial aid packages. Next, we went over a new program that we're getting called Deposit IQ, which helps us to determine which students are most likely to enroll, which helps us to prioritize them and strategically reach out to them, which makes our outreach efforts a little bit more effective. So again, he laid out some more expectations for the Deposit IQ program and explained how to use that for new counselors. After talking about that, we went over the current deposit numbers. We talked about the positive aspect of where we are in the enrollment snapshot, and then we talked about the negative. This was a little bit more of a difficult part of the conversation, but I definitely think that it was necessary because it is the job of the director to make sure that we are on track with where we're supposed to be in enrollment, especially for a private, small university who really depends on enrollment numbers. So that was a little bit of a less exciting part of the meeting, but it was a necessary conversation, and I thought that the director did a really good job of spinning it in a nice way and explaining to counselors that we need to work hard to get students to commit to the university, but that we also have a lot of positive aspects, like the fact that we're up in applications and we're up in admitted students, so we have a larger pool to work with. So he didn't blame anyone for being behind in where we're supposed to be, but he did clearly articulate where we're at and where we need to be, which was helpful in sort of providing some guidance. Next, we talked about motivation factors, and the director specifically asked the staff members what kinds of things might help them to find motivation and what kinds of rewards they might like if they meet goals. And I thought that this was really great because it helped to allow the staff to participate in that process that's usually done by upper level management. So it helps to make the gap between what organizations are doing to motivate employees and what is actually going to be motivating to employees. So it was important for the director to include the staff in this conversation. Next, we talked about the students who had been selected for full tuition scholarships. And this was exciting because it helped to kind of bring us back to what's important, which is that we're helping students gain access to higher education. So I thought that this was a great thing for the leader to kind of end on because he helped to give the counselors meaning and help them, you know, realize that their job is worthwhile. And that's important, especially when you have a full week ahead. So it just kind of set the tone for the week, and that, you know, what you're doing is important. I think that that is part of what makes an organization and a leader effective and ethical, is when they give their employees meaning. So then lastly, he asked for input from other counselors, and it was more of a discussion about kind of what's next, and individuals could ask questions and those kinds of things. So then lastly, some counselors kind of chimed in on some of the announcements that they have. For example, a counselor mentioned that the honors application was open, and another counselor mentioned that decisions for one of our selection programs were going to be made soon. So just kind of keeping the staff informed. So that's kind of the general overview of how the meeting went and the things that we talked about. In my critique, I went through kind of what I gathered from this meeting in the leadership style that my director exhibited, and kind of what that says about the organization. First, I thought that it was really great that that the meetings are a little bit more casual. I think that is suitable for staff and for our environment. In other situations, a more formal meeting might be necessary, or it might fit better with the staff members, but I think that this says something about the leadership and the organization, that they're you know, hiring individuals who are a good fit for the environment and the nature of the higher education setting. So it was just a little bit more comfortable, and it shows that the leader knows staff members. Next, I thought that the small talk at the beginning of the meeting was really great, because the leader engaged in that, and that shows that he cares about the staff members as individuals enough to talk to them about things outside of their work requirements. So next, the director started the meeting out with a small joke, which shows that he has character and humor, which I think that most employees value, and it just kind of brought happier tone to the list of expectations that he was about to lay out. And so that helped to just put everyone on a positive note. The next was, throughout each of the announcements that the director made, he clearly articulated what was happening and what the expectations for the counselor were. So I thought that this was a key part of an effective leader and an ethical leader in organization, because if individuals don't clearly know what they're supposed to be doing, it's more difficult for them to do that. So that was important. And then next, I already mentioned this, but I thought it was important for the leader to involve the staff in discussing what types of things might motivate them throughout the next few months. And it showed that some transparency, as well as participation between the upper levels of management and the entry-level staff members. And then lastly, I also mentioned this, but I thought that ending the meeting on a note of discussing full tuition scholarships for students and kind of what that means, and being able to tell counselors that they can notify these students was a nice way of providing the counselors with meaning for what they're doing. And so I think overall, those are the aspects that I gathered from the meeting that show that the organization and the leader are both effective and ethical. So that concludes my presentation. Best of luck with the next 8 weeks of classes, and have a good day.